So it looks like getting ready to go with jam number 1 to start things off here on a Saturday morning. It's going to be Shreddy Mercury donning the star for Bridgetown Menace. And on the other side of the ledger, it'll be Freight Train of the Twin City Terror. So we are underway. Quarterfinal qualifier is what you're seeing here from the Men's Roller Derby Association. And already, Bridgetown Menace first late jammer, it's going to be Shreddy Mercury.
Nice job by Shreddy to get out of the pack. Good blocking and up. We've started very, very fast. No slowdown packs early on.
So first scoring pass here for Mercury. He's got a lot of open room in the straightaway. About to do the lap of the jammer here as Mercury now approaches. He's got 4 already on this rotation. First jam in this quarterfinal play-in game between Bridgetown Menace, the number 7 seed, and the Twin City Terrors, the number 10 seed. Already 40 seconds deep into this jam, and this jam will be called off by Mercury. And when it was all said and done, looks like it will be to the tune of additional points collected. 3 will be on the ledger there for Shreddy Mercury. So Bridgetown already fast out of the gates with a 7-0 lead.
Didn't mention in the opening, Bridgetown defeated Twin Cities back in August by the score of 285-54. So the men from Minnesota looking for a little bit of revenge, but Shreddy Mercury getting the early advantage and a nice job to pick up the extra jammer lap point +2.
Ready to go with jam number 2 for Bridgetown. It will be El Nino, and for Twin Cities, it will be Derby Monster. Full complement of blockers out there for both squads. In turn number 1, looks like getting designated as a lead, it will be El Nino. So back-to-back lead jams here for Bridgetown Menace, who sports the 7-0 lead. With El Nino trying to get around that tough line of defense there set up by the Terrors, the number 10 seed heading into the weekend. Having a hard time staying up on his quads, but finally getting on through will be Nino. Meanwhile, it is Derby Monster being handed to the back, and now looking for a star pass with the jammer cover in his hand, a star stash. He will keep it in his possession. As El Nino now looking for the scoring pass here for Bridgetown with 1 to beat and gets on through. And it'll be a collection, looks like 4 points notched up, and Bridgetown will call this one off. So, quick sprint out of the gates, an 11-0 lead here for Bridgetown. Under 28 minutes left here in the first.
Twin Cities had an early chance there to grab the lead, but their jammer was unable to get out as El Nino was knocked down around the first turn. Nice job by Bridgetown to recover and force the issue.
Bridgetown, as we said, 4-3 coming into competitive play here in the sanctioned tournament. Of course, notching up big victories at the Big O Invitational earlier this year. Twin Cities at 5-7 had a really nice job of hosting and competing very well at their own rolling along the river. Back underway here with jam number 3. It's going to be Don Juan for Bridgetown. It will be Nader's going to nade with his first jam for Twin Cities. 11-0 the lead here for the team from Portland. And to the front of the pack, it's going to be Don Juan as your lead jammer for Bridgetown.
Excellent job by Cosmo Damage at the top of the triangle. I believe he really forced Naders to stay in the pack.
And now Don Juan with the scoring pass. A lot of open room and gets on through. It'll be 5 notched up here by Don Juan. So Bridgetown keeping the scoring streak alive here. 16-0 with under 27 minutes left here in the first. Juan working his way and working his magic on through. He will collect 10 now on this rotation. It looks like the Menace are looking to attack on more. Finally, it looks like it was Nader's going to get out from the pack as Don Juan on the third scoring pass assesses the situation, and he'll get more to conclude jam number 3, and what a big one it was. 14 points on the tally for Bridgetown, who now sport the 25-0 lead over Twin Cities.
Another good jam from Bridgetown. They were able to force the Twin Cities jammer to stay in the pack, and a good job of switching sides by Don Juan there.
Each squad losing a blocker in the process, so 3-3 pack between Bridgetown and Twin Cities. It is going to be Bainana on skates for his first rotation. In the jammer position, it's Freight Train once again for his second jam for Twin Cities. 25 points the lead for Bridgetown. Nobody with the advantage yet is Bainana on skates trying to work his way to the outside. Now here comes, it looks like Freight Train having his hands full in the back of the pack, and now Bainana on skates out to the front of the pack. So 4 lead jams here to start things out for Bridgetown, trying to extend on this 25-point lead. Bainana on skates joining Bridgetown after spending last season with St. Louis. It looks like he's adjusted nicely to this new setup here of Portland. So already 5 on the jam here by Bainana on skates. Second scoring pass, charges in hard into turn number 3 with a 2 all in front, slowing him down. Pushing, and Skates gets on through. So it is 10 on this rotation so far. Bridgetown midway through jam number 4, really putting a hurting on Twin Cities early on with a 35-0 lead. Third scoring pass with Banana on Skates. Meanwhile, it is a star pass being made here by Twin Cities. And additional points will be collected by Bridgetown. Looks like an additional 2 points will be notched up. So an even dozen here by Bridgetown, and they're rolling along here at 37-0.
Name of the game for Twin Cities right now has to be contained. They've got to try and limit these multiple pass jams. That's only going to put them in a deeper hole, and they're still looking for their first point.
First rotation coming up for Egon Strangler of Twin Cities, matched up against Shreddy Mercury of Bridgetown. 37 points the lead here for the number 7 seed. 24.5 minutes left here in the first, and wow, just like that, already to the front of the pack. And Shreddy Mercury is your lead jammer for the Menace.
Big Twin Cities tried to open up the inside. Shreddy was just quicker to the spot.
With Strangler still being hemmed into the back of the pack. This has been solid defense here so far by Bridgetown. As it is, Mercury trying to shred his way through in turn number 2. And with 1 to beat, gets on through. Nice job working around the defense there of Baron Von Beans. And it will be 5 notched up here so far by Bridgetown in jam number 5. Meanwhile, it is Strangler still being hemmed up, as it will be the second scoring pass collected here by Shreddy Mercury. So it's 10 on this rotation for Bridgetown. 47-0 the lead with 23:40 left here in the first. A minute 10 left in this jam. It's been all Bridgetown here so far. They've looked very, very solid defensively and just stymieing the Twin Cities jammers. And getting on through for another pass, it will be Shreddy Mercury checking with the official. Looks like it will be 5, and the jam will be called off. So 15 back-to-back multiple point jams here by Bridgetown. They're still rolling along at 52-0.
You said it exactly right there. Excellent defense by Bridgetown. They're just very fluid. Once the spot opens up, they immediately have 1 or 2 blockers there to cover. Their triangle blocking has been phenomenal so far.
This is not the first go-around here for Bridgetown. We've seen them in the last 4 rotations in the MRDA championships, and we've usually seen them in this number 6 position, but with a lot of activity in the middle stretches of the rankings this year, we saw Bridgetown drop 1 position into the number 7 slot. Going underway here with jam number 6, it will be Nader's Gonna Nate jamming for Twin Cities. On the other side, it's going to be El Nino for Bridgetown Menace. Blocking schema for the Menace, Miller, Tommy Gunn, Jukebox Hero, and Williams. On the Twin City Terror side, it's Derby Monster alongside Loose Will, Jam It Dim, and Steve Sweat. And into the front of the pack. 6th lead jam here for Bridgetown Menace. El Nino with the star on his helmet, looking to add on to this scoring streak that Bridgetown has notched up early. Meanwhile, it is Nader's Gonna Nate escaping from the pack. First scoring pass here for El Nino, knocked to the outside, and he will call off the jam. Looks like, well, solo points this time around. So a nice stop defensively here for Twin Cities. Only 4 collected on this jam, but Bridgetown still holding on and keeping Twin Cities at a goose egg.
Honestly, that was probably the best part, the best jam that Twin Cities has had. They were able to contain, get their jammer out, and a nice block at the tail end by Steve Sweat forced the purple jammer to the ground.
It's been a busy year for Twin Cities, 5-7, their sanction mark. You'd have to say that they deserve this number 10 seed here, because I can say that I haven't seen a team work harder on and off the track than Twin Cities this year, just bumping up the amount of games that they're playing and the quality of games that they are playing. They are down by 56, however, but this is how you become a better squad, by taking on the top echelon in the MRDA. It is going to be Don Juan, 2nd lead jam here for the Menace, and they are going to keep looking to roll on. Egon Strangler jams here for Twin Cities, as Don Juan's a very steady veteran, looking for some moves to the inside with 1 to beat. Ooh, forced to the inside, takes a tumble, gets on back up, and a track cut will be called, and that was textbook there as he got twisted up, and he's not too happy with the officiating, but it will be a power jam now here for Twin Cities, who's now knocking on the door of opportunity. Oh, as the apex jump there was notched up by Egon Strangler. So when it was all said and done, points will be notched up here by El Nino, or Don Juan, I should say, to the tune of 5 points, but looks like that.
He didn't go to the box.
No, that track cut was called off. It was signaled by our official here, so there is still a jammer of record out there for Bridgetown. So A bullet dodged, I guess you could say, here by the Menace as Twin Cities was looking to notch up their first points. They'll try to do it 5-on-5, but out in front, as your lead jammer, it will be Herman Munster. So impressive is Bridgetown. They're 5 jammers deep already, a lot of depth and experience. Twin City is also counted with 5 jammers so far in this contest. It's Steve Sweat taking his first rotation out there for the Terrors. To the outside, looking for the scoring pass. It is Herman Munster. It is Steve Sweat also getting out of the pack, and now the true power jam is called with the trackpad and a collision down below, as it looks like Herman Munster took a collision with all the chairs down there and picked up the 7-10 split. Meanwhile, it is a power jam here for the Twin City Terrors. Can they break open the goose egg? Steve Sweat dons a star, full complement of blockers assisting, with Derby Monster, Egon Strangler, Freight Train, and Nader's Gonna Nate assisting. As the Terrors trying to bust open through this wall, sent to the inside. Nice defense there by the Menace. As Steve Sweat assesses the situation, looks for assistance. Now they're going to slow things down in turn number 3. With Steve Sweat trying to get around the last blocker in front. That is Jukebox Hero, competing once again back at his former home track here in St. Louis. And meanwhile, it will be 4 points fresh from the penalty box, as it will be Herman Munster collecting points. But now Twin Cities gets on the board, as it will be 5 notched up here by Steve Sweat.
Excellent job by Steve Sweat, working hard, trying to create that no pack. Couldn't quite do it as both jammers back in the pack now, but Twin Cities does get on the board. Meanwhile,
getting on through for another scoring pass. Bridgetown's Munster doing a nice job, fresh from the penalty box. Meanwhile, points still being collected here by Twin Cities. So I see your 4, I raise you 4, says Twin Cities. Right now, 9-8 on the jam, as this one will reach its natural conclusion. And when it was all said and done, Twin Cities does get on the board, much to the happiness of the crowd here at Midwest Sport Hockey. They will score 11 out of this rotation. Bridgetown, however, does notch up 8. So when it was all said and done, 18-10 left here in the first, and Bridgetown leads 69-9.
Better job there by Twin Cities. They were able to force the issue and block both offensively and defensively there. That track cut penalty on Bridgetown did help them out. However, Bridgetown was able to effectively kill the penalty, I believe. I don't think they gave up any points on the power jam.
No, it was very solid work there. That's Spider. I'm Muckety Muck. Thank you so much for watching. If you're just now joining us, this is the 7 versus 10 matchup in the first round of the opening round of the MRDA 2015 Championships. This is River City Rumble, being presented by the Men's Roller Derby Association, being hosted by Gatekeepers Roller Derby, and being associated on the stream by WFTDA.TV. We thank you very much for joining us this morning. 7-10 matchup is what you're watching between Bridgetown and Twin Cities. Coming up right after this contest, another play-in game, which features 8th-seeded Magic City Misfits. They will be taking on the number 9 is San Diego Aftershocks. And then, of course, our quarterfinals continue as the day rolls on. So 6 big games coming at you here on a Saturday in Baldwin, Missouri. Matchups aplenty to be found. Any in particular, Spider, that you're looking forward to? Any teams that you're looking forward to see this weekend?
Honestly, everybody. This is my first tournament, so I just want to see how everything plays out. Obviously, you've got, like I said, the well-known top teams, New York Stock Exchange, your mom, the Gatekeepers on their home turf. So it'll be exciting. They're trying to protect. They were the last team to beat your mom. They're going into this with high expectations, you know it. So I can't wait to see all the games they're playing.
Yeah, especially when we've got the 3 versus 6 coming up later on with New York Stock Exchange and Southern Discomfort. The 4-5 matchup between Texas and Puget Sound should be a dandy as well. 72-11 is our score. Bridgetown in purple with the lead. Jamming out there, and as your lead jammer, it's going to be Banana on skates for Bridgetown Menace. Nader's going to Nate is jamming for Twin Cities. And once again, that tough defensive wall by the Menace has been menacing. First scoring pass here by Banana on skates. Forced to the outside. Quick back on the retreat, and will assess the situation on the straightaway on the back stretch. Forced out of bounds. Nice work there by Derby Monster, and that's going to force a call off of the jam. Looks like it was 3 notched up here by the Menace. So 17-15 left here in the first. 75-11. Bridgetown still sporting the advantage.
Twin Cities took a timeout obviously a couple of seconds ago while we had our break, and they came out very, very strong there. They were able to force Banana out of play twice on that jam, and only limited them to 3 points.
And a nice job the last couple of rotations here by Twin Cities, holding the points to minimal, trying to keep things at bay. Things a little rocky in the first 10 minutes for Twin Cities, but they have settled down nicely. Still have yet to get one lead jammer in this contest, as it will be the unofficial 8th lead jam here for Bridgetown, or I should say 10th. Yes, we are in jam number 10. They've got all of them so far. This time it's Shreddy Mercury donning the star, and already 5 notched up here by the Menace, extending the lead now to 69 points. 30 seconds deep into this jam, and second scoring pass for Bridgetown's Shreddy Mercury. And on the inside lane finds some open room, and he's got 10 so far on this rotation.
Mercury on his third pass. I believe that's his third pass. Steps outside, looks back inside. He's very, very quick lateral jammer. All the Bridgetown jammers very good, moving laterally very quickly and finding open spaces.
Another grand slam collected, so it's 15 on this rotation by Shreddy Mercury. Defense up front for the Menace. It's Miller, Tommy Guns, Jukebox Hero, and Karen Duncan. Twin City Terrors counters with Call of Duty, Loose Wheel, Jam It Dim, and Fire Wally. I knew that was going to happen sooner or later. Before this. Hey, might as well just break the streak early on. Hey, the kids are still sleeping. Don't worry about it, folks. 90-11 the lead right now, but let's add on more here for Bridgetown, as it will be more points being assessed. Finally breaking through the pack as well, it is going to be Egon Strangler for Twin Cities, so both jammers looking to notch up points. We'll see if Twin Cities can collect non-lead points. No, they will not. As this jam will be called off, an additional 4 points collected by Bridgetown. They now sport the 94-11 lead, 15 minutes left here in the first.
Credit to Egon Strangler for staying in there. He was really getting hammered around the first and second turns. Looked like he was taking either some shots from the track up high, or he just got hit in the head, but he stayed in, got through the pack, and was trying to come around the score, just could not quite do it. Let's see if Bridgetown can build their lead even further.
Menace still going with this 5-jammer rotation, been very solid so far. El Nino already with 8 points on the morning here for Bridgetown Menace, matched up against Derby Monster, who has yet to score here for Twin Cities. Into the front of the pack, it is going to be El Nino as your lead jammer for Bridgetown Menace. So 11 jams deep, and Bridgetown's possessed them all as far as the lead goes. As the first scoring pass here by El Nino, going around the 3 wall, being stopped up front by David Smashelhoff. Also Baron Von Beans and Freight Train. Now working in turn number 4 and escaping through the pack and collecting up the grand slam, it will be El Nino. Already 5 on this rotation, 13 in the column of scoring for El Nino so far, but he's looking to add on more. As in turn number 3, pushing and getting on through, and now it looks like use of the forearms being called against a blocker of Bridgetown Menace, and it actually sends 2 blockers to the box. So now the 4-2 pack advantage for Twin Cities. A star pass has also been made here by the Terrors, and now donning the star will be Freight Train. Looks like Nino sensed danger and wisely calls off the jam, collects 1 additional point. Bridgetown now triple digits. They lead 105-11, 13:30 left here in the first.
One of the dangers of being a good defensive team, especially when you're in that rotating 3 triangle, you might get some multiplayer blocks, and I believe that's what got called on Bridgetown there. So they're 2 blockers down starting this jam.
So let's see if the Terrors can capitalize. They send up to the line. Nader's going to Nate. And jamming for Bridgetown, it will be Don Juan. Tough task ahead for the Terrors here, because Don Juan has looked very solid so far. 19 points in the column. But let's see what Nader's going to make and the rest of the Terrors can do. Being down by a bushel load early on here, as Don Juan will try to work on out. A multiplayer block being called against Fire Wally of Twin Cities, so that's going to help out Bridgetown's numbers and both blockers fresh from the box. So now they got a full complement, and Don Juan will be your lead jammer, and now Twin Cities really in a hurt as they are bleeding blockers now, and Don Juan's going to have a lot of open room to work with. Only 1 blocker out there for Twin Cities, and it's an uncontested roll for Don Juan. Defense, yep, just when you saw yourself with a 2 blocker disadvantage, they flipped the script, and now they're really going to have the numbers in their favor with only 1 blocker starting out this upcoming jam here for Twin Cities.
Like I said, that 3 wall, that 3 kind of rotating triangle, whatever you want to call it, you get some multiplayers every once in a while, especially when you have a strong jammer like Don Juan, who just throws his body into the blocking wall, and he did a nice job of getting that penalty call.
Just now joining us, this is the qualifying play-in bout for the quarterfinals. in the MRDA 2015 championships. And a track cut will be called here against Twin Cities Egon Stranglers. So it will be the Power Jam notched up here by Bane Anna on skates, who is your lead jammer. Skates already with 15 points, and this one could blow this one wide open early on. 3 blockers out there assisting, and oh my, just straight through easily for Bane Anna on skates. And now a full complement of blockers out there with Williams, Demolition Man, Captain Obvious, and Defensive Destroyer. Meanwhile, Egon Strangler standing up in the penalty box. He will join the action here shortly. Meanwhile, second pass here for Bane Anna on skates with 1 more to beat. Trying to slow down the progression was Fire Wally, but getting on through and collecting now 10 points. It is Bane Anna on skates. Power Jam comes to its conclusion. It's still a 1 blocker advantage for the Bridgetown Menace. Bane Anna on skates on the 3rd scoring pass. Trying to work to the outside with 1 to beat, and the jam will be called off. And just like that, when Twin Cities was holding close, nip and tuck, things getting a little out of hand with the penalties here by bleeding blockers. Twin Cities, they're in a hurting right now. Bridgetown Sports 14 off that last rotation. They lead 123-11 with 10:40 left here in the first.
Not much else you can say. You can't afford penalties when you're down by a lot, especially in this middle portion of the first half. And really hurt Twin Cities these last 2 jams.
See from the jammer stripe as we get underway with jam number 14. It is going to be El Nino jamming for Bridgetown Menace, Derby Monster for the Twin City Terrors. Twin City Terrors need to flip the script. They want to keep this one tight. Things looking a little shaky here in the latter stretches of the first period. And it looks like more whistles will be assessed, and a track cut will be assessed now to El Nino. So the Power Jam forthcoming for Derby Monster and Twin Cities. So here's the opportunity that they were looking for. Full complement of blockers to work with as well. So last time out, Bridgetown did a nice job of slowing things down, went on the penalty kill. Let's see how things progresses here as the Terrors try to capitalize. With Derby Monster busting on through and points collected to the tune of 5. So the Terrors now getting on the scoreboard off this Power Jam. 9.5 minutes left here in the first period of play. This has been a nice surge here for the Twin City Terrors coming into St. Louis as the number 10 seed. Bridgetown is number 7, forced to the outside as Derby Monster tries to collect more points on the 2nd scoring pass. Back into the mix, it is El Nino 4. And now being called for a penalty again there. So now back-to-back Power Jams here for Twin Cities. So they'll keep this one rolling along with 30 seconds left to go in the jam. It is Strangler, or Derby Monster I should say, sent to the inside. He will call off the jam. And it looks like additional points to the tune of 5. Yes, all 5 will be collected there. So Twin City Terrors, their first double-digit scoring of the afternoon, this morning I should say. And they cinched this one up a little bit. It's now 123 for Bridgetown, Twin Cities with 21, but there's going to be a power start here for the Terrors.
Not a bad call by Derby Monster there. He's forced down, out of play on the inside. Honestly, it was a pretty tough hit, so we might have just had enough on that one. But good Power Jam start for Twin Cities.
So for the power start for the Twin City Terrors, it will be Nader's Gonna Nate donning the star. We'll see how the defense lines up here for the Menace. It's going to be Williams, also Demolition Man, Captain Obvious, and Cosmo Damage. And now Captain Obvious will be sent and getting out almost to the front of the pack now, forced to the inside, as it will be Nader's Gonna Nate reassessing the situation here once again. Nobody with the lead, or actually it is designated as a lead for the Terrors. Nader's Gonna Nate. Nice work defensively up front here with Demolition Man leading the charge, slowing down the progression here of Nader's Gonna Nate. So this power start has barely got it going here for Twin Cities as the Menace once again doing a lockdown job defensively. So back into the mix, it is El Nino for Bridgetown. And he will now escape from the pack. Meanwhile, Nader's Gonna Nate just having a heck of a time trying to get on through. And this jam will be called off as it was El Nino approaching the pack here quickly. So a nice job defensively there by Bridgetown, keeping Twin Cities scoreless on that rotation there. And it maintains our score at 123 for Bridgetown. Twin Cities Sports 21 points with 7:05 left in the first.
Cosmo Damage and Demolition Man 357 and 512 for Bridgetown were able to kill that penalty almost single-handedly. and they kept Nader's going to Nate in the pack the entire jam. Excellent work.
Underway with jam number 16, it will be Don Juan donning the star here for the Menace. On the other side of the ledger, it will be Strangler for the Twin City Terrors. And into the front of the pack, it is Don Juan with his third lead jam of the contest here. He's notched all of the leads every time he's donned the star. And already looking for his quick pouring pass. It did not take long for Don Juan to make it all the way around the track. Maybe with a little bit too much fire in the wheels there, as he will have to slow things down and restart in the back of the pack. And there's that quick, explosive frame you see of Don Juan. Just so much power with Don Juan powering through for the Grand Slam.
The skater just bounced off of him. It's incredible to watch.
So second scoring pass here for Don Juan. If you're watching from Portland, you got to like what you're seeing here so far. Bridgetown doing a nice job here in this 7-10 matchup. Already 10 points on the tally for Don Juan. Stretches the lead to 133-21 with under 6 minutes left here in the first. Don Juan sent down. Nice hard shot there by Jamet Dim. As the Terrors will try to slow down Don Juan, but Don Juan skates on through. He's got 15 on this rotation. Full complement of blockers here for the Menace as Don Juan approaches on the 4 scoring pass. Takes his time coming up against the 4 wall up front. And Don Juan forced to the outside. Meanwhile, sneaking on through, and you saw that one coming into your frame as it's Egon Strangler now sporting the star. Just kind of caught everybody unaware there, and that's going to force the call off of the jam as that star pass was successful. But Don Juan notches up 19 points on that rotation. He now leads the Bridgetown Menace scoring with 42 points, and with 5 minutes left here in the first, Bridgetown with that 19-point strike, and jam number 16 now sports the 142-21 lead.
Buckety Muck, as you said, Don Juan has so much power. He's low to the ground. He throws his frame forward. Every time he goes into the pack, he leads with his shoulder. It's tough to defend against.
Such great lateral movement, strong base as well. Just a powerhouse skater out there for the Menace. In jam number 17, we're going to see donning the star. It's Nader's going to Nate for Twin Cities, and it's Maine Anna on skates, the recent transfer to the Bridgetown Menace. With Maine Anna on skates, working to the outside, trying to go around the 2 wall. Now force the inside with 1 to beat, and does get on through on the straightaway. So Maine Anna on skates will be your lead jammer for Bridgetown. Meanwhile, whistles being assessed, as there will be a couple of blockers going off, one aside for both Bridgetown and Twin Cities. Meanwhile, Maine Anna on skates scores up the Grand Slam. So 5 on this rotation so far. With Maine Anna on skates on the second scoring pass, gets on through. It's 10 on this rotation so far. 1:05 left to go in jam number 17, and this one will be called off as bodies go tumbling in between turns 3 and 4. Looks like at the end of it, more points notched up here by Bridgetown. When the dust had settled, looks like our score is going to be Bridgetown sitting on 152 points, Twin Cities at 21 with 3.5 left here in the first.
Another excellent job of blocking by Cosmo. Damage again, and just you gotta give credit to Banana on skates. He's the third leading scorer for Bridgetown Menace, but he's right, very, very close to 39 points.
Right now, unofficially, 14 lead jams for Bridgetown, only 2 for Twin Cities. That has been the tail of the tape in this contest, and it's been consistent work here by Bridgetown in this 7-10 matchup. As it is El Nino as your lead jammer here for Bridgetown. And donning the star, it is going to be Freight Train for Twin City Terrors. A lot of hard hitting going on here in this 7-10 matchup. As El Nino will approach the pack. Bridgetown sporting purple. And now the jammer cover looks like it has dropped to the sport court here at Midwest Sport Hockey. Actually, that was the pivot stripe, I should say. And you probably heard that one at home as the bench from Bridgetown said El Nino called this one off. So he does after notching up 4 points. And Bridgetown keeps it rolling along here, sporting the 156-21 lead with 2:20 left here in the first period.
I want to thank Rydell Skates for sponsoring our action today. Made in the USA, made for Derby. Rydell Skates, unmatched quality, unmatched performance.
course, full slate of games coming at you today. 5 more after this one. The other play-in game in the quarterfinal rounds between Magic City and San Diego takes place after this one. Right now, Bridgetown rolling along and looking to snag that one of 2 quarterfinal slots and looking to play number 2 seed St. Louis Gatekeepers later on. And it is a track cut being assessed here to Nader's Gonna Nate for Twin Cities, so it will be the power jam now for Bridgetown Menace, Herman Munster, and already through 4-5. So the power jam here for the Menace, who have capitalized early and often on miscues by taking control of this advantage. 40 seconds deep into jam number 19 of the second scoring pass by Munster. Forced to the outside on the straightaway. Blocking schema out here on this power jam. It's Juke Blocks Hero for Bridgetown Menace alongside Captain Obvious and Cosmo Damage. So 3 blockers setting up the walls here for Herman Munster and the power jam, which is now going to reach its conclusion as Nader's Gonna Nate of Twin Cities is back into the mix. Some more points notched up here by Herman Munster. 10 so far on this rotation by Bridgetown. Opening up this one wide open in the latter stretches of this first period of play. Twin Cities, though, to their credit, trying to do everything they can defensively to stop this hard-charging offense that has showed up early and wide awake here at Midwest Sport Hockey. Third scoring pass here for Herman Munster will result in some points. Meanwhile, Nader's Gonna Nate also escapes from the pack as well. We'll see if they keep this one rolling. Looks like it will be called off. With 20 seconds left to go here in the first period of play, looks like 14 points notched up there by Bridgetown, who now sports the 170-21 lead.
Bridgetown just working hard. They're able to get their jammer out first. If not right at the start of the jam, within the first turn, and that's where they've been able to push their advantage. And credit to their jammers, too. It hasn't all been blocking, freeing them up. They're doing a lot of good work individually as well.
And it looks like time does run out here in our first period of play. So our halftime score here, Bridgetown Menace, the number 7 seed. Very impressive early on, sporting the 170-21 lead over Twin Cities. We did see some nice defensive work by Twin Cities in about the middle stretch of that contest, or in the first period. Hopefully they can kind of cinch it up here to start things out here in the second period of play. If you're just now joining us, Twin Cities, you see them right in front of you there sporting the light blue jerseys. They are from Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, and Bridgetown, Minnesota. They'll be sporting purple, and they will already grab. Well, looks like the first lead jam, Twin Cities, is going to come out a rolling. Freight trains are rolling along as your lead jammer here for the Terrors.
And that's exactly the start you want for the second half of your Twin Cities. Get your jammer out first, get that advantage, and pick up what you can.
So already here, Twin Cities wanting to start out with a little more fire than how they began this contest. Non-lead points will be picked up, however, by Bridgetown. They will actually get a 3-4-1 advantage here on this rotation. So Twin Cities does notch up the lead jam. They do get on the scoreboard as well. It was about 10 minutes worth of clock time in the first period of play before they scored a point in this one. So the margin is picked up a little bit here for Twin Cities, but they're trailing right now 174-22, one jam deep into period number 2. This is the 7-10 play-in game. The winner of this one advances to play St. Louis, the number 2 seed, tonight at 5 o'clock. Another play-in game with Magic City and San Diego takes place immediately following this contest. A lot of hard hitting there in turn number 1, as it is Derby Monster jamming for Twin Cities. It is El Nino for the Bridgetown Menace. And getting out into the front of pack, designated back-to-back lead jams here for the Terrors, as it will be Derby Monster as your lead jammer.
And this time they have some space and time, as the Bridgetown jammers still mired in the pack.
So first scoring pass here for Derby Monster. And it looks like a couple of whistles will be assessed, and it looks like the back block will be assessed here to Derby Monster. So a power jam now for El Nino and Bridgetown, who's looking to roll on in this 7-10 game. As El Nino here approaching the pack. Full complement of blockers out front there for Twin City Terrors, but their jammers still sitting in the box in Derby Monster. Meanwhile, points being collected here by Bridgetown's El Nino, as he's gone 5 on this rotation so far. 50 seconds left here in jam number 2, capitalizing on power jams. This is what Bridgetown has done to stretch open this lead. Second scoring pass here for El Nino with 1 to beat. Gets on through, so 10 on this rotation so far. as this power jam comes to its conclusion. So full deck out there now for Twin Cities. One blocker in the box for Bridgetown, that being Tommy Gunn. And on the third scoring pass for El Nino, trying to get on through. Meanwhile, big tumble by Derby Monster in turn number 4. Bridgetown hitting really heavy here early on a Saturday morning. Third scoring pass. And Steve Sweat with a little bit of acrobatics there, and that's what you've come to expect with a nice kip up there by Steve Sweat.
That was pretty ridiculous.
And it looks like more penalties will be assessed. A track cut now called against Derby Monster at the conclusion of this jam. So it looks like 17 points notched up here by Bridgetown. Twin Cities did score 1, but unfortunately for the Terrors, they will be at a disadvantage to start out jam number 3, as it will be the power start here for Bridgetown.
Monster and the Twin Cities coach were very hot about that last penalty. Unsure exactly what the call was, but they obviously did not think it was warranted.
So setting up the situation here, full complement of the blockers for Bridgetown, and of course the power start. And oh my, here comes Don Juan. 42 points so far in the first half, and he's going to try to get off to the races here for Bridgetown in this second period. So 191-23 the advantage. Now we'll add some more to the column of the menace as Don Juan on his first scoring pass. Having a little bit of defensive stymie there by Twin Cities, but it is Don Juan getting through for 5 points. Bridgetown knocking on the door of 200 points early on in the second period. Second scoring pass here by Don Juan, with the blocking set up in front by Williams, Demolition Man, Cosmo Danger, and Defensive Destroyer. Twin Cities blocking. Looks like Loose Wheel, Dolph Lensgren, Fire Wally, and Samson. Derby Monster back into the mix jamming-wise and being hemmed up. You get a good look at it at home right there. Now a star stashed in the right paw there, now on the left, I should say, of Derby Monster. And more points being notched up by Don Juan. He's got 10 so far on this rotation. Midway through jam number 3, Bridgetown rolling along. And Don Juan through for the third scoring pass now. So 15 now here by the Menace. Actually, only 4 will be assessed on that pass there. So the Menace sending a statement here in jam number 3. A star pass now being made and completed. Now donning the star is Fire Wally of Twin Cities. And Don Juan will call off the jam, notches up an additional 4 points. So an 18-0 sprint here by Bridgetown, who now sport the 209-23 lead with 24:55 left here in regulation.
Want to thank Powerdyne as well for sponsoring the 2015 River City Rumble. Performance plates for the modern derby game, cutting-edge designs and cutting-edge performance. Powerdyne.
We thank all our sponsors for being a part of the coverage this weekend here with the Men's Roller Derby Association's 2015 championships, River City Rumble. 209-23, Bridgetown leading. In jam number 4, it's going to be Nader's Gonna Nate for Twin Cities. It is Baynana on skates for Bridgetown. Pivot going to the box for Twin Cities. They're now going to be 2 in the disadvantage, and Baynana on skates is your lead jammer for Bridgetown. Baynana with 39 points, and now he's going to be sent off. Looks like high block being called there by Baynana on skates, so it will be the power jam now for Twin Cities. Been held to minimal points here in this second period of play, but still trying to make a hard charge here in their first ever tournament trip in the Men's Roller Derby Association. Still trying to get on through. It is Nader's Gonna Nate.
Only a few seconds left in the power jam, and Nate really wants to get out. I mean, Twin Cities on the whole, they want to make a good showing here. That's their mission at this first tournament.
And I tell you what, this defense from Bridgetown has been very, very impressive here in this contest, and already getting on through is Baynana on skates. And once again, no points surrendered by Bridgetown off of the power jam. Baynana on skates, apex jump in turn number 2, gets on through, and it'll be a 4-point pass for Baynana on skates. Nader's Gonna Nate, getting really frustrated there on the straightaway, and now looking for the star stash as he exchanges it from left to right, still in possession of it. Baynana on skates scores another 5 here for Bridgetown. 20 seconds and counting left here in jam number 4. Bridgetown rolling along here on the third scoring pass. Ooh, Baynana on skates still stays up on his quads. And now you see him pass on through. Another collection of points here for Baynetta on skates. It's now 14 on this rotation. As time winds down here in jam number 4, Bridgetown, the menace. Yeah, they're menacing here in St. Louis. 223 to 23. 200 points the advantage for Bridgetown.
Just want to point out something that Banana on skates did on that last jam. On, I believe, his second pass, possibly his third, he came around turn 2, and the pack was basically arrayed on the far straightaway, and it looked like there was a gap clean through the left side on the inside, and he didn't take it. He went out to the right side where there was traffic, and he still managed to get through. Great skill and talent shown by Banana on skates there.
6th jammer in the rotation now for Bridgetown as Tommy Gunn dons the star for the first time today and will be out in front as your lead jammer. So much depth to this jammer squad, or I should say to the menace altogether here, as you've got 6-7 skaters that can jam for you on any given moment. Shows you the quality and the caliber of talent of this Bridgetown team. And it will be points notched up here by Tommy Gunn. Looks like it will be 4 on the tally here for Bridgetown, who now sports the 227-23 lead, 21.5 minutes left here in the second.
When you can go a legitimate 5 deep in your jammer rotation, you're a good team. When you can throw in a 6th, it's just icing on top of the cake.
It's magical, my friends. That's Spider. My name is Muckety Muck, and you're watching this action here on WFTDA.TV. This coverage complimentary all weekend long. No need to move away from your couch, ladies and gentlemen. You can enjoy all the action with 6 big games today, 5 more after this qualifier play-in game into the quarterfinals, which Bridgetown wants to see themselves take on St. Louis, the 2nd seed, later on today. In front as your lead jammer, it's going to be Fire Wally of Twin Cities. So the 3rd lead jammer of this contest, or of this half, I should say, for the Twin City Terrors. Let's see what Fire Wally can do. They've went 6 jammers deep as well. And now assessing the situation, this one will be called off, trying to sneak in points at the last second, but no, not getting any with Freddie Mercury. It looks like it's going to be a 1-0 jam for Twin Cities. So they break the schneid as far as the scoring goes. And right now they are down by 203 points.
Bench coach had high fives for everybody, though. That's the first jam they've won on the day. And even if it's a 1-0 jam, you can go back and say, we won a jam in our game at the championships. Build on that for next year.
As we said, Twin Cities 14th in the MRDA as a result of leagues such as Mass Maelstrom, Arizona, Silliers, South Wales, declining bids. They moved up and grabbed the 10th seed. And now a power jam here for Bridgetown as Don Juan's going to go off. Locking with the head is the call. So and now just like that, a track cut is going to be assessed to Steve Sweat. So prime opportunity for the Terrors to capitalize, but it's going to be null and void as Sweat's going to have to take a seat. So no jammers out there for this about 15-second stretch. Steve Sweat takes a seat. Don Juan back into the mix for Bridgetown. So a mini power jam here for the Bridgetown Menace. As Don Juan gets on through, he is not your lead jammer, but he's looking to pick up points on the next pass. Steve Sweat back into the mix and quickly approaching and sends Don Juan out of play. Wow, Don Juan did not see that coming. You just can't turn your back there on Steve Sweat. He's going to make you pay when you least expect it. And it looks like it will be use of the forearms being called against Steve Sweat. So back-to-back power jams. A lot of hard hitting up front by this menace wall of Cosmo Damage, Captain Obvious, Tommy Gunn, and Defensive Destroyer. Yeah, you can't tell me that this is a 200-point contest. Bridgetown hitting as if we are in jam number 1 of this contest. Power jam continues here for Don Juan, who's not your lead, but he's notching up a bucket load of points. It'll be 4 on this pass here. Now we'll call it 5. 10-0 the run here for Bridgetown with under 30 seconds left to go in this jam. Steve Sweat awaits in the wings, and now he's back into the mix at a little slower pace than when he came out last time. As Steve Sweat now sitting, I do believe, on 3 penalties. Really nobody to be concerned of on either squad when it comes to penalties, and that's a pretty good benchmark when you see how physical the play has been as Steve Sweat sneaks on through. And as this jam reaches its conclusion, no points collected by Twin Cities, but it was an additional 4 collected up by Don Juan and Bridgetown. Right now your score with a flat 18 left here in the second period. Bridgetown leads 241-24.
You saw the natural skill of Don Juan actually cause him a penalty as he gets so low and has such forward drive. A Twin Cities defender came over to knock him out. and he basically went into their knees and took. They both went down, but as you said, Twin Cities just a little bit more too aggressive, trying to get back in and get points on the power jam.
Nader's going to Nate Dawn's the star for Twin Cities. It is going to be Williams for the Bridgetown Menace. So now there's 7 jammers out there now for the Menace. And there's nothing wrong with this, because with a long weekend that Bridgetown's going to have, why not get everybody a little bit of extra rotations there, donning the star this weekend? You know your work's going to be very busy, especially with Bridgetown now pretty much in control and meeting St. Louis later on today. I think I can kind of, well, officially call it here. You know, 217 points is quite a differential to claw back from midway through the second period of play. But with Bridgetown, they're going to throw everything at St. Louis. You can imagine that one at 5 o'clock Central later on today. Twin Cities, well, they're still going to have a busy weekend regardless of the outcome of this contest. The way that the parameters are called here, as we have ourselves a timeout taken with 16:45, we had mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast that it is a 10-team tournament this year. As a result, we had to add 2 games, the 7-8 and the 7-10 and the 8-9 play-in games. But as a result, in order to get this whole tournament into the span of 2 days, we had to subtract a lot of games in the consolation bracket. We don't have a true consolation bracket. That being said, even though we won't have a 5th place finisher here this weekend, it was guaranteed to the seeds 3 through 10 that they would be guaranteed 2 games this weekend. And I think that's pretty important when you talk about teams that have had to travel, such as Southern Discomfort, Twin Cities, of course, Bridgetown. Getting quality minutes in competition play and tournament play is imperative, and getting two games in a very tight weekend was definitely the calling card. Right,
a 2-day tournament instead of a 3-day tournament. And as you said, teams traveling long distances. And for teams that are making their first appearance, you want to get at least 2 games. There's nothing worse than a one and done in any sport championship tournament. You don't want to go home with that empty feeling like, oh, we came all this way to lose one and now we're sitting and watching. So a great setup for the tournament, giving those teams the chance to play twice and really, really showcase their stuff. If you lose one, you have the chance to win another.
As this official timeout continues on, and now we will finally reach the end of it. Of course, this is the 7-10 matchup between Bridgetown and Twin Cities. Magic City, the number 8 seed, takes on San Diego Aftershocks. They're new to the MRDA mix. That one's coming up immediately following this contest at 11 a.m. Central. So much more activity as the afternoon progresses, with New York facing Southern Discomfort at 1 o'clock Central, Texas versus Puget Sound at 3, and then we will see the St. Louis Gatekeepers take on the winner of this contest, and your mom plays later on this evening. A lot of whistles going on here in jam number 9 as we get back underway with action. And as your lead jammer, it will be El Nino of the Bridgetown Menace. Fire Wally jamming for Twin Cities. And now the star pass being concluded here as Fire Wally puts the cover on his helmet, and this jam will be called up. When it was all said and done, looks like 5 points notched up there by Bridgetown, so they're stretching open this differential right now. 2:46 to 24, 15:50 left here in regulation.
If you're Bridgetown right now, like you said, you stretch out the list of jammers, get your primary jammers some rest, either have them block or just have them sit so they're fresh for the next contest, and just try and shorten the jams up, get a blow as soon as you can. Keep your rest, it's going to be a long weekend.
Bridgetown coming into this tournament 4-3, looking for win number 5, and they are well in control of this one, as it will be Shreddy Mercury as your lead jammer for Bridgetown. Lead after lead after lead Bridgetown has been getting in this contest. That's been the tail of the tape. And expert blocking has been also the heavy cause of this lead that Bridgetown currently possesses. It is Steve Sweat escaping from the pack as well for the Terrors, already notching up 5 points. It is Shreddy Mercury, and they will call off the jam, as it was Steve Sweat trying to accumulate some points and does take a hard hit in the process. So Sweat now on the floor here for the Twin City Terrors. So we have a break in the action, 14:50 left here in regulation. Bridgetown currently sporting the 250 to 24 lead. Of course, this is the 7-10 matchup between Bridgetown and Twin Cities. The winner of this one playing St. Louis at 5 o'clock Central. And the loser of this contest, the one that suffers defeat, will be bounced into a consolation game that will be taking place at 1 p.m. Sunday afternoon. And getting back up on his quads, getting a round of applause, is Steve Sweat. He seems to be okay. Took a tumble, and you see him in the bottom of your screen now making his way back to the bench unassisted. So he'll have to sit out a couple of rotations. A lot of great fire and heart and desire here by Twin Cities this weekend, as we say, coming in as the number 14 team in the MRDA and the number 10 seed. This is a weekend for a squad like that to raise their Derby IQ, to get this competitive tournament level experience here. And for a team that's done a lot on and off the track this year, this is a prime opportunity for not only themselves to prove themselves, to prove to everybody else that they belong here at this championships.
Because let's be honest, all the teams here are just about the same size, weight, strength-wise, honestly. So when you get to this championship tournament, it's what do the top teams do, what skills do they possess, what tactics do they use that separate them from the lower half of the group. And that's what a team like Twin Cities can come and find out and take away. You bet their coaches and their skaters are all taking notes, whether on paper or in their memory banks. They're going to take back to practice and really use when they get back to the grind in their practice space. And that's why it's important for teams to be able to make this and be able to make these tournaments come out and really improve themselves, as you said, to really improve their Derby IQ.
And of course, an opportunity for Twin Cities here as the number 14th ranked league in the MRDA. If they get a victory in the consolation bracket tomorrow, there's a good chance that they're going to go up those rankings and maybe do a leapfrog over squads that declined an invitation this weekend, like Mass Maelstrom, Arizona, South Wales. So really, this is a productive weekend regardless of how you finish, because people are going to remember the hard charge that you did during tournament play, and by the time the next set of calculated rankings, or just rankings I should say, come out next year for the MRDA, they're going to remember times like these.
No, most definitely. Most definitely. These sanctioned games are paramount for any ranked league in MRDA. And that's...
We have, for those folks wondering at home, we do have a microphone that our officials will talk into to address the crowd here at Midwest Bar Hockey. Unfortunately, that is not tied into our system here, so that's what that pause was all about. And we're having fun here. Tournament play, as we said, this is what Derby is all about. This is why I'm a Derby fan, my friend Spider, and getting to meet new folks all the time, including yourself. Your first taste of tournament experience. I know you're going to have a lot of fun this weekend, especially here at the MRDA level. We go bug nutty as the weekend progresses.
I've never even heard that word.
Yes.
So I'm already learning.
Yes.
But no, this is great. Honestly, being able to travel, roller derby, I found out for announcers and skaters, is a sport of travel. And honestly, a lot of the top echelon sports, you're going to have to travel around the country, around the world even, to find the top tier talent. And roller derby is no different, and it's no different for announcers. I went all the way out to Colorado earlier this year in my first big tournament. And a little bit of a shorter trip this time. But I honestly know that it's going to be a great experience for myself. It's going to be a great experience for the skaters who haven't come here, for the skaters who have. I'm already having fun. It's early. I'm already having fun.
Yes, and having fun is what it's all about. Shorter distance for me, only half an hour's drive for me. So I drew the golden straw this year.
I knew there were going to be people who were just waking up in the morning and do the stretch, read the newspaper, do whatever you have to, and then there's me who came in like midnight last night and checked into the hotel.
But we wouldn't have it any other way, my friend.
Such is the life.
That's right. Well, this official timeout is continuing on. We'll try to get an assessment of what this call is. But right now, we're going to get back underway with action. 14:52 left to go in regulation. Update you on our score. It's Bridgetown 250, Twin Cities 24. The 7-10 play-in game is what you're watching. Winner of this one takes on second-seeded St. Louis. So back underway with action with Bridgetown sporting the purple. They will send out Herman Munster. And on the other side of the ledger, it's going to be Nader's going to Nate for Twin Cities. And into the front of the pack as your lead jammer, it will be Munster as your lead jammer. 25 points collected by the veteran here of Bridgetown. Scoring has looked really, really solid across the board here for the and 7 jammers in rotation for Bridgetown. We'll get an update on scoring here in just a little bit. Meanwhile, it is points being accumulated by Herman Munster to the tune of 5, so the Grand Slam collected. Back into the mix for Twin Cities. It's Nader's gonna Nate, who escapes from the pack as well. Second scoring pass here for Herman Munster, and gets through and notches up 10 on this rotation. Actually, only 4 on that last pass there. So 9-4 strike there by Bridgetown Menace. Rolling along here with 14 minutes left. 2:59 to 24. Bridgetown leads.
Been about the same, just looks like about the same pace as that August 16th matchup. However, Bridgetown, I believe, has been more effective. I didn't get a chance to see that game, but it seems like they've been more effective defensively, holding Twin Cities to 24 points so far, and they finished with 54 in August. Let's see if the score changes.
And I think this is the full lineup for the Menace. I don't think they brought everybody with them last time out at River City Rumble, so that could play into a factor as well. And of course, when you just got to have solid walls up front, opening things up for your jammer, that's always going to make things happen. And Don Juan's going to be your lead jammer here for Bridgetown.
This guy Don Juan is a force. He's an absolute powerhouse, as you said, as a jammer.
So Don Juan already was 74 points, and now he's going to add on to that tally, as it will be officially Rockety Roller will hold up 2 fingers in the air, and that will be a 2-0 strike for Bridgetown. 2:61 to 24. The Menace in control with under 13 minutes left to go here in regulation. Scoring-wise, here's how it looks so far. Don Juan leading the ledger with 76 points. Baynana on skates with 53. Shreddy Mercury with 49, El Nino with 45, Herman Munster with 34. Other end of the ledger for Twin Cities, a pair of skaters with 11 points apiece with Derby Monster and Steve Sweat. And Derby Monster, one of those 2 leaders, right now donning the star for the Twin City Terrors. It is going to be Baynana on skates, doing the duties jamming-wise for Bridgetown, trying to get around the 2 walls set up front. Freight train, the last line of defense. They'll have to let him go on through. So Baynana on skates as your lead jammer for Bridgetown. Star stash, I should say, in the hands right now of Derby Monster. Will he elect to give it off? No, he's just going to hold on to it in his possession. Meanwhile, scoring pass here for Baynana on skates, as Bridgetown rolls along here, 40 seconds deep into jam number 13, and it will be the Grand Slam collected by Baynana on skates. Second scoring pass. It looks like a track cut will be assessed here to Baynana on skates. So we will see how Twin Cities can capitalize. The star still in the left hand of Derby Monster. And he's forced to the inside. And take a picture of this, ladies and gentlemen. Every time that Twin Cities capitalizes on the power jams, it's been the solid work up front defensively by the Menace that's just been shutting the gates on every power jam. If not mistaken, no points surrendered off of the power jams throughout this contest by the Bridgetown Menace. However,
I know that I believe Derby Monster did get, he got 10 points in the first half, but that has been it. And they have gotten at least 4 power jams so far in the contest.
Now it looks like the star pass will be completed. So Freight Train now donning the star for Twin Cities. Second scoring pass for Baynana on skates in the latter stretches of jam number 13. Freight Train does get through the pack and will post up 4 non-lead points for Twin Cities. Baynana on skates also post up points to the tune of 5. So it's going to be a 10-5 roll here for Bridgetown. And reaching the 10-minute mark here in the second period of play, Bridgetown holding on to the 271-28 lead.
No, it's been excellent defensive work. And you're in the championship tournament. If you've got people who can score, excellent. But if you can effectively defend, you will go far. And that's what Bridgetown has done here in this the first game of the day is always difficult. And they've done an excellent job from the first whistle.
Great crowd formulating already on here this morning. This facility, when it's at its max capacity, seats, well, we can jam in about 1,000 folks in here. We've kind of roped off some of the seating that is normally here, what we call Party Cat Corner in between turns 1 and 2. Where we have the dais and all the ringster folks and our officials, non-skating officials, and our technical crowd, our technical staff, I should say. But this place gets extremely loud as the numbers come in. So I'm going to say we got probably about 250, 300 in here so far, and that's not bad for the early morning game. I've been to some more high-profile tournaments in the past where early morning you only get about 50 people showing up, and so with a crowd this ravenous for Derby this early on in the morning in the MRDA, I love it. Love seeing this action. So we're getting underway with about 10 minutes left to go in the second period. Jam number 14. It is going to be Williams donning the star for Bridgetown Menace, and Nader's Nate going to jam for Twin Cities. Bridgetown in the purple, with the last line of defense being stacked up there by Jamit Dim, also Baron Von Beans. And now finally busting on through the pack as your lead jammer, it will be Williams. And it will be also getting through for Twin City Terrors. Nader's going to Nate, so both jammers now looking to post up points. The first points collected by Williams in this contest will be to the tune of 4. So Williams, or actually only 3, so Williams now getting onto the scoring ledger for Bridgetown, who now have amassed a 274-28 lead with 9:20 remaining.
Now when you bring in, you've got 5 primary jammers as Bridgetown has had, and then they've had 2 reserves, 2 subs. And everybody who's jammed has scored for them. That's a quality, no matter what happens, that's a quality outcome.
Fire Wally is your jammer of record for the Twin City Terrors, and it's going to be Tommy Gunn for Bridgetown Menace. And trying to get through with a hop, skip, and a jump at the last second, but unsuccessful was Fire Wally. Meanwhile, Tommy Gunn in turn number 2, trying to find his way to the outside, and now he will be your lead jammer for Bridgetown. Scoring pass here for Tommy Gunn will result in points to the tune of a full grand slam, and this jam will be called off. 279-28. Bridgetown now rolling along. Great sponsors that are here this weekend taking care of our coverage, and of course the folks here. Let's talk about them, Spider.
Well, as we said, the Jammer Line is sponsored by Labita Wheels. The penalty box sponsored by Derby Elite this week. Antic is our pivot line sponsor. The trophy, the MRDA trophy, is presented by Radar, and the MVPs are also presented by Derby Elite.
Tell you what, if you're looking for an MVP for Bridgetown, that one's going to be a tough one to call. This has been a solid team effort.
We'll definitely get to that later.
Yeah. Shreddy Mercury is your lead jammer for Bridgetown. It is Derby Monster jamming for Twin Cities, but already looking to rack up points. It is Shreddy Mercury who passes on through, and it will be the Grand Slam collected by Bridgetown. Derby Monster does escape from the pack as well. Already 5 sported here by Bridgetown in jam number 16. Time winding down with 7:15 left to go in this play-in game in the quarterfinals. Bridgetown en route to playing St. Louis later on today in the quarterfinals, as this jam will be called off, and it looks like 1 additional point will be sported by Bridgetown. So with a flat 7 left here in period number 2, Bridgetown Menace possessing the 285-28 lead.
That was a really, really quick pack. We haven't had that in a while, I believe, since early in the first half. I think Twin Cities might have been trying to speed things up and turn it into a foot race. And we had a quick tumble on the 4th turn.
So with jam number 17 we go. With Williams jamming for Bridgetown, it's going to be Nader's going to Nate for Twin Cities. Blocking schema looks like this for the Menace. Miller, Tommy Gunn, also Captain Obvious, and Cosmo Damage. It will be Williams as your lead jammer for the Menace. For Twin Cities, blocking-wise, it's Loose Wheel, Freight Train, Smash, and Steve Sweat. And it's nice to see Sweat back into the mix here for the TC Terrors. Meanwhile, star falls off the helmet of Nader's going to Nate. So right now it is in the right hand of Nader's going to Nate. Meanwhile, points being posted up here by Bridgetown Menace, as it is Williams on the second scoring pass. Wide open spaces on the straightaway. And with 1 to beat, gets on through. We'll call off the jam as a last-second charge was being made there by Steve Sweat to collect some points. But it will be a 9-0 strike here for Bridgetown. Knocking on the door, 300 points right now at 294-28, 5.5 minutes left.
Nice jam by Williams. You want your reserve jammers to get good jams. have them have that fresh in their minds, so they keep a record of what worked, what didn't during the jam. And when you're moving on in the weekend, if you have to be called into service again, you have that in your memory bank.
And even though they've got minimal points compared to the other 5 jammers of the Menace, both Tommy Gunn and Williams have recorded 100% lead jams each. So it has been very productive, even though the scoring might not be as overwhelming. But speaking of overwhelming, here comes Don Juan as your lead jammer. 76 so far in this quarterfinal play-in bout, looking to add on more. And he's had a lot of great assistance up front. It's Duncan, Captain Obvious, Munster, and Defensive Destroyer. They've been solid all throughout the day, and Don Juan through for the Grand Slam. Bridgetown 1 point away from 300 points at the 440 mark left here in regulation. Fire Wally is jamming for Twin Cities, and Don Juan is through, almost untouched. Whoa, but he's going to be called for use of the forearms. So Don Juan will go off, and Twin City Terrors will capitalize on the power jam, but still being hemmed in is the jammer for Twin Cities right now. Star in the possession of Jamit Dim, who's just trying to muscle his way forward. And once again, we see that hardcore blocking of Duncan, Obvious, Destroyer, and others. But it is Jamit Dim finally busting through and now sporting the star here for Twin Cities. And here comes a scoring pass for Dim, but he is sent to the outside. Power Jam is going to reach its conclusion as Don Juan is back into the mix for Bridgetown. So Don Juan approaching the pack, trying to muscle his way around the full wall. You see a good look at both walls there at home on WFTDA.tv. And it looks like it will be Jamit Dim getting on through for the pass. 5 collected here for Twin Cities, and a nice round of applause from the bench.
Hard-fought Grand Slam for Jamit Dim, and the crowd appreciates that. They know that Twin Cities is down, but they've worked hard. They deserved all 5 points.
And this one will come to its conclusion. 3:15 left to go in regulation. It was a 10-5 rotation favoring Bridgetown, who now sport the 3:04 to 33 advantage. 3 minutes left. Coming up next, oh, it's going to be a good one, and I'm looking forward to this one. Magic City versus San Diego. Magic City back into the mix after a 1-year absence. They've really improved, bumped themselves up to number 8, and then, of course, the relative unknown, at least for us here in the Midwest, in San Diego, number 10 in the MRDA, but they come in as the number 9 seed. Undefeated is San Diego coming into the weekend, so that one's going to be a neat little contest coming up, and that's going to be seen right here on WFTDA.tv. And presented by the MRDA. That's what you're watching here, River City Rumble. Don Juan is going to be your lead jammer for the Bridgetown Menace. Fire Wally Don's the star for the Twin City Terrors. Bridgetown rolling along as the number 7 seed, looking very impressive here in this quarterfinal play-in game. Twin Cities will be bounced to a consolation game, but there were positive strides made by the Terrors in this contest, so something to build upon, hopefully, in their consolation game taking place on Sunday at 1 p.m. Central. Meanwhile, it is Don Juan, or I'm sorry, not Don Juan. That is Tommy Gunn trying to work his way through.
Tried to make a spin move, but he was unable to stay in bounds there. I just like the fact that both of these teams are still fighting hard. We've got just over 1 minute left here in our first bout. Both teams are still giving it not quite the ferocity that they had the first jam, but very, very almost imperceptibly less. And that's good to see from both teams with this big of a margin.
So looks like we'll see how this one progresses. One blocker, or actually I should say Twin Cities jammer in the box right now, so it is going to be a power start here for Bridgetown Menace. And out in front it is going to be Shreddy Mercury as your lead jammer for the Menace. So Winton to end things on an exclamation point is the number 7 seed from Portland, Oregon. Bridgetown coming into the postseason with a record of 4-3, so they'll sport up their 5th victory of the season. But more importantly, they get a lot of momentum heading into a key matchup against St. Louis later on this afternoon in the quarterfinals. So you got to feel a little confident if you are Bridgetown heading into play later on this afternoon. Twin Cities, however, still keeping it tight as far as the adrenaline going, but sometimes you do find yourself making your way to the penalty box, and that is going to be the call here against Egon Strangler. Use of the forearms is the call. So things going to wind down here for Bridgetown. And they are pretty content to just let the clock run on out.
Definitely going to be exciting. St. Louis defeated Bridgetown in that same tournament, the River City warm-up, by a pretty wide gap, 255 to 63. The way they've shown out here, they're definitely looking for some measure of, not so much payback, but they want to make a better showing than they did. That'll be our game.
All right, so that will do it for your play-in game. Yes, very impressive victory here by Bridgetown. Your unofficial final, 316 to 33.